The Calarian Empire's grand observation vessel, Celestial Eye, hung in the darkness of space like a jeweled pendant, its crystalline sensors gathering data about the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star. Admiral Varen stood before the sweeping view screen, his tall frame casting a shadow across the polished deck. His iridescent scales shimmed under the soft blue light of the bridge as he studied the planet below with growing disdain. "Another primitive world," he muttered, mandibles clicking in disappointment. "Hardly worth the fuel we've spent reaching it." Intelligence Officer Naira stepped forward, her smaller frame tense with concern. Unlike the Admiral's dismissive attitude, she had spent weeks studying the transmissions from this world called Earth, and something about them troubled her deeply. "Admiral, with respect, I believe we should exercise caution," she said, her voice steady despite the disapproving glance from her superior. "The humans' technological progression over the past century is unprecedented. They've advanced from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary space travel in mere decades." Varen waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Naira, you've always been overcautious. Look at them, they haven't even unified their planet. They waste resources on internal conflicts. Their space vessels are barely more than metal cans with engines." But Naira persisted, bringing up a holographic display of Earth's military history. "That's exactly what concerns me, sir. These internal conflicts, they've driven innovation at an alarming rate. Their weapons technology, while crude, has evolved faster than any species we've encountered." The Admiral's face hardened. "The Empire has stood for 10,000 years. We've incorporated hundreds of worlds into our domain. Are you suggesting this backwater planet poses a threat?" "I'm suggesting we should study them further before making first contact," Naira replied, pulling up more data. "Their entertainment media is particularly telling, they constantly imagine scenarios of alien invasion. They're not just prepared for our existence, they're prepared for conflict." Around them, the bridge crew worked in silence, but Naira could sense their attention shifting to the conversation. The Calarian Empire had indeed never faced serious military opposition. Their technological superiority had always been enough to ensure peaceful integration or submission of new worlds. "Enough," Varen snapped, his patience wearing thin. "Prepare the first contact protocols. We'll show them our full fleet, standard intimidation display. Once they understand our power, they'll fall in line like all the others." As the orders went out, Naira made one final attempt. "Sir, I've analyzed their response patterns to perceived threats. They don't react with fear to displays of power, they react with defiance. Perhaps a more diplomatic." "Your concerns are noted, Officer Naira," Varen interrupted. "But I didn't become Admiral by being timid. The Empire's approach has worked for millennia. It will work here." The next day, the Calarian fleet emerged from hyperspace in formation around Earth. 500 ships, each larger than the largest human vessels, arranged in a display of military precision that had cowed countless civilizations before. The response was not what they expected. Instead of panic or awe, Earth's various military installations simultaneously activated. Orbital defense platforms, previously invisible to Calarian sensors, shimmered into existence. Countless smaller vessels emerged from hidden bases on the Moon and various orbital stations. "Sir," a sensor operator called out, their voice wavering. "We're detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. Their weapons, they're not matching any known configurations." Varen stood unmoved. "Send the standard greeting. Demand their surrender to Imperial authority." The message was sent, and the response came swiftly. It was audio only, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect Calarian language. "This is Admiral Rebecca Steele of the United Earth Defense Force. We've been watching you watching us. You had your chance to approach in peace. Now you'll understand why we warned you to stay away." Before Varen could respond, the impossible happened. Earth's forces moved with devastating coordination. Their ships, far from being primitive, demonstrated maneuverability that defied Calarian understanding of physics. Their weapons, a combination of technologies the Empire had never seen before, bypassed shields that had been thought impenetrable. Impossible, Varen whispered as the first Calarian ships began to fall. Their technology, it's beyond anything our intelligence suggested. Naira rushed to a console, her fingers flying over the controls. Sir, they're using multiple technologies we've never seen combined before. Quantum-shifted plasma weapons, gravity manipulation drives, some kind of localized time dilation effect, they've been holding back, hiding their true capabilities. The battle unfolded with brutal efficiency. Earth's forces didn't just fight, they executed pre-planned strategies, anticipating Calarian tactics that had been standard for centuries. Every attempt at a counterattack was met with an immediate, overwhelming response. Sir, Naira called out, her voice urgent. We need to retreat. They're not just defending, they're systematically disabling our fleet's command and control capabilities. They know our weaknesses. Varen stood frozen, watching his mighty fleet being dismantled by an enemy he'd completely underestimated. How, he managed to ask. How could they have advanced so far without us knowing? Because we saw what we expected to see, Naira answered, her voice bitter with realization. They showed us their satellites and space stations, their public technology. But underground, underwater, on the dark side of their moon, they were preparing. Every war game they ran, every science fiction story they wrote, they were getting ready for us. As if to punctuate her words, another wave of Earth vessels emerged from hyperspace, their own version of faster-than-light travel, different from the Empire's but evidently just as effective. They surrounded the remaining Calarian ships with precision that spoke of long preparation and practice. Admiral Steele's voice came again, this is your only warning. The Empire ends at Earth. Retreat now, or we'll be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities. Varen, his pride shattered but his survival instinct intact, finally gave the order to retreat. As the surviving Calarian ships fled into hyperspace, Naira received one final transmission from Earth. It was text only, written in ancient Calarian script, a language barely used in modern times. Next time, listen to your intelligence officers. The defeat at Earth marked the beginning of a new era for the Calarian Empire. For the first time in their long history, they had met a species that not only refused to submit but had the means and will to enforce their independence. As the survivors limped home, Naira couldn't help but wonder what other secrets humanity had kept hidden, and what this would mean for the future of galactic civilization. In the years that followed, the Empire would learn that their encounter with Earth was more than just a military defeat, it was a wake-up call. Humanity had revealed only a fraction of their capabilities during the battle, a fact that would keep the Empire's leaders awake at night for generations to come. The species they had dismissed as primitive had proven to be anything but, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known as the Nautilus Complex, Fleet Commander Kira Winters stood before a holographic display of the retreating Calarian ships. The massive underground chamber hummed with activity as technicians and officers monitored the alien fleet's withdrawal. The chamber itself was a testament to humanity's preparation, built within the Earth's crust using technology that had been kept hidden from orbital observation for decades. They're maintaining their retreat vector, reported Lieutenant Marcus Singh, his fingers dancing across the quantum interface. No signs of reinforcements or counterattack preparations. Kira nodded, her silver-streaked dark hair reflecting the blue glow of the holographic displays. Keep the Artemis defense grid activated. They might have more ships waiting beyond our long-range sensors. The enormous chamber represented just one of Earth's many hidden command centers. Similar facilities were scattered across the planet, buried under mountains, hidden in desert wastelands, and concealed beneath the polar ice caps. Each was a marvel of engineering that would have shocked the Calarians had they known of their existence. Commander, called out Dr. Rashid Hassan from his station, the combat data from our first engagement is fully analyzed. The quantum shift drives performed beyond expectations. The Calarians had no defense against our four-dimensional maneuvers. Kira allowed herself a small smile. The quantum shift technology had been one of humanity's greatest achievements, the ability to partially phase ships out of normal spacetime, making them nearly impossible to target with conventional weapons. It was just one of many innovations that had been developed in secret, hidden from prying alien eyes. "What about casualties?" she asked, turning to face the medical hologram of Dr. Isabella Torres. "Minimal," Isabella reported. "Our phase shields held up perfectly. 3 injuries from feedback surge, all minor. The neural integration systems protected our pilots even during the most extreme maneuvers." The success of their first major engagement with an alien force validated decades of preparation. Ever since humans had detected the first hints of alien civilization in the mid-21st century, they had begun preparing for the possibility of conflict. The discovery of the Calarian observation posts near Pluto 7 years ago had only accelerated these efforts. "Commander," Marcus called out suddenly, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Luna Base 1. Director Jackson requests your presence for an emergency council meeting." The lunar facility housed Earth's most advanced research and development complex, hidden beneath the crater Shackleton. Within hours, Kira's quantum-shifted transport emerged from a concealed hangar in the Nautilus complex, making the journey to the Moon in minutes using technology that the Calarians had assumed was centuries beyond human capability. The council chamber at Luna Base 1 was carved directly into the lunar rock, reinforced with materials that could withstand direct planetary bombardment. Around a circular table sat the leaders of Earth's defense forces, representatives from every major nation and scientific division. Director Thomas Jackson, a tall man with dark skin and commanding presence, stood as Kira entered. "Commander Winters, excellent work with the defense operation. But we have concerns about what comes next." Dr. Victoria Patel, head of Xenotechnology Research, activated a holographic display showing analysis of the Calarian fleet. "Their technology is impressive, but rigid. They haven't made any significant advances in centuries. They've relied on intimidation rather than innovation. Which makes them dangerous," added General Wei Chen. "Wounded pride often leads to desperate actions. We have to assume they'll return with a larger force." Kira studied the data floating before them. "Then we'll be ready. The orbital defense grid is only our first line of defense. They haven't seen our planetary shield technology or the gravity well projectors." "There's more," Dr. Patel interjected. "During the battle, we managed to extract significant data from their computer systems. Their encryption was centuries out of date compared to our quantum security protocols. We now have detailed information about their entire empire." The hologram shifted to show a map of Calarian space, vast but, as they now knew, technologically stagnant. The empire had grown complacent in its power, never facing a serious challenge to its authority. "Their society is built on the assumption of their technological superiority," Director Jackson explained. "This defeat won't just anger them, it will shake their entire civilization to its core." "Good," said General Chen. "Maybe it will wake them up. Humanity tried to warn them. We broadcast messages, left beacons. We wanted peaceful contact, but we were ready for war." Kira moved to the center of the room, expanding the holographic display to show Earth's full defensive capabilities. Satellites that could become devastating weapon platforms, asteroids that had been hollowed out and turned into hidden bases, fleets of ships that could emerge from beneath the ocean or within gas giant atmospheres. "We should show them more," she suggested. "Not everything, but enough. Let them understand that what they saw was just the beginning of our capabilities." The council members exchanged glances. Humanity had spent generations hiding their true technological progress, letting potential adversaries see only what they wanted them to see. The decision to reveal more of their strength wasn't one to be made lightly. Agreed, Director Jackson said finally. Prepare a demonstration. Something that will make the Empire understand that further aggression would be inadvisable. As the meeting continued, in laboratories and facilities across the solar system, humanity's hidden arsenal stood ready. Weapons and defenses that had been developed in secret, technologies that had been carefully concealed from alien observation, all waited to be unleashed if necessary. The Calarian Empire had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed that humanity's visible technology represented the peak of their capabilities. They hadn't understood that humans, shaped by millennia of conflict and competition, had learned the value of keeping their true strength hidden until it was needed. Now, as Earth's forces prepared for the Empire's inevitable return, they would learn just how costly that mistake had been. The arsenal that humanity had built in secret would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy, and the Calarian Empire would never again underestimate the species they had dismissed as primitive. The Calarian High Council chamber was in chaos. Admiral Varen stood before the assembled counselors, his scales dulled with shame as he recounted the defeat at Earth. Behind him, massive screens displayed the devastating losses their fleet had suffered. High Counselor Zexra, her ancient frame adorned with the ceremonial crystals of leadership, raised a hand for silence. In 10,000 years, no force has ever inflicted such damage on our fleet. How did we fail to see their true capabilities? Intelligence Officer Naira stepped forward, her presentation ready. The humans deliberately deceived us. What we thought were primitive satellites were advanced sensor scramblers. Their apparent internal conflicts were testing grounds for weapons and tactics. Even their entertainment media was part of the deception, spreading disinformation about their technological capabilities. Impossible, shouted Counselor Merrick, his scales flushing with anger. No species could advance so quickly without detection. That's exactly what made it possible, Naira countered. We were so convinced of our superiority that we never considered they might be hiding their true progress. Our own arrogance blinded us. As if to punctuate her words, a new alert flashed across the screens. The human fleet was on the move, but not toward Calarian space. Instead, they were systematically destroying every hidden observation post the Empire had placed in their solar system. They're not just destroying them, reported a technician, they're using technologies we've never seen before. Some kind of targeted spatial distortion that's erasing our outposts from existence. In the depths of space, humanity's ships moved with precise coordination. The Earth Defense Force had deployed its second-tier technology, still far from revealing their most advanced capabilities, but enough to send a clear message. Commander Winters stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship Prometheus, overseeing the operation. Status report on the quantum erasure weapons? Operating at optimal efficiency, reported Dr. Hassan through the neural link. The Calarian outposts are being removed from spacetime without causing any collateral damage to surrounding space. The quantum erasure technology was one of humanity's more elegant innovations, weapons that didn't just destroy their targets, but removed them from reality itself, leaving no debris and no possibility of data recovery. Multiple Calarian vessels detected approaching from Sector 7, announced Lieutenant Singh. Looks like they want to watch the show. Kira smiled. Let them. Time to demonstrate the gravity lance. The Prometheus's main weapon emerged from its hidden configuration, a massive array that bent space itself into a weapon. With surgical precision, it created a localized gravity well that crushed a Calarian listening post into a point smaller than an atom. In the Calarian High Council chamber, the observers watched in horror as their most advanced surveillance equipment was systematically erased from existence. These humans, muttered High Counselor Zexra, they're not just defending their territory. They're sending us a message. Yes, Naira agreed. They're showing us that they could have done this at any time. They let us watch them for years, letting us think we were undetected, while they studied us and prepared. The displays showed more human ships emerging from what appeared to be tears in space itself, not using conventional jump points, but creating their own temporary wormholes. Each vessel demonstrated capabilities that contradicted everything the Empire thought they knew about physics and technology. "We've detected unusual activity in their lunar facilities," reported a sensor operator. "Energy readings are off the charts." On the moon's surface, humanity's hidden bases activated their full sensor arrays, scanning deep into Calarian space. The Empire's observers watched in disbelief as their most sophisticated cloaking systems were rendered useless by human scanning technology. "They can see everything," Naira realized. "Our hidden shipyards, our classified research facilities, they've probably been watching them all along." The human fleet's demonstration continued. They deployed autonomous drone swarms that could phase through solid matter, energy weapons that could selectively target specific materials while leaving others untouched, and defense systems that seemed to predict attacks before they were launched. In the Prometheus's command center, Kira received a transmission from Earth. Director Jackson's hologram appeared before her. "The Calarians are getting the message. Their emergency transmissions are quite telling. They're beginning to realize just how badly they underestimated us." "Should we proceed with the final demonstration?" Kira asked. Jackson nodded. "Show them the solar shield. Let them understand what they're really dealing with." At Kira's command, humanity's most visible display of power began. Across the entire solar system, hidden generators activated simultaneously. A shimmering field of energy began to form, starting at Pluto's orbit and working its way inward. The Calarian observers watched in stunned silence as humanity created an energy barrier around their entire solar system, a shield that could theoretically cut off their whole star system from the rest of the galaxy. "By the first light," whispered High Counselor Zexra. "They could isolate themselves completely if they wanted to. No fleet could penetrate that defense." "And this is still just a fraction of their capabilities," Naira added. "Everything they've shown us is a calculated demonstration. Who knows what other technologies they're keeping in reserve?" The human demonstration had achieved its purpose. The Empire now understood that they weren't dealing with a primitive civilization that could be easily conquered. They were facing a species that had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies in secret while letting the galaxy underestimate them. As the Calarian High Council debated their next move, Kira Winters stood on her bridge, watching the solar shield shimmer in space. Humanity had revealed enough of their capabilities to deter further aggression, but their greatest technological achievements remained hidden, ready to be unveiled only if absolutely necessary. The Empire had made its worst mistake not in attacking Earth, but in failing to recognize that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their advanced technology, it was their capacity for innovation, their ability to prepare for any possibility, and their determination to defend their independence at any cost. The massive war room beneath Mount Everest buzzed with activity as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Quantum sensors detected what humanity had been expecting: the Calarian Empire was mobilizing its entire fleet. Not just the military vessels, but everything they had, from ancient reserve ships to newly commissioned prototypes. Commander Winters stood at the central holographic display, watching the movement of thousands of Calarian vessels. Beside her, Director Jackson's expression remained calm despite the gravity of the situation. "They're desperate," Kira observed. "Throwing everything they have at us instead of accepting the new reality." "Pride," Thomas replied, "is a dangerous thing. Their entire society is built on the belief in their superiority. Some would rather see their empire fall than admit they're no longer the dominant force in the galaxy." The holographic display shifted, showing new data from their deep space sensors. The Calarian fleet was gathering at predetermined rally points, preparing for what they hoped would be an overwhelming assault on the Sol system. "They still don't understand," Dr. Hassan commented, his hologram joining them from Luna Base. "Even with their entire fleet, they're fighting yesterday's war. Our quantum probability engines have already calculated every possible strategy they might employ." Kira nodded, watching the tactical projections play out. Have they detected our stealth platforms in their staging areas? No, Hassan confirmed. The phase-shifted observers remain undetected. We're tracking their every move. The Calarian Empire had gathered the largest fleet in its history, over 10,000 ships strong. In their war council, Admiral Varen had been replaced by Grand Admiral Thexkar, a hardliner who promised to restore the Empire's honor through overwhelming force. What the Calarians didn't know was that humanity had prepared for exactly this scenario. Hidden throughout their staging areas were quantum observation posts that could not only track their movements but predict their intentions through advanced AI analysis of their communications and energy signatures. They're planning a multi-vector assault, Lieutenant Singh reported, analyzing the data streams. Trying to overwhelm our solar shield by attacking from different directions simultaneously. Director Jackson turned to Kira. Time to activate the Helios Protocol? She nodded grimly. The Helios Protocol was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets, a defensive system that had been in development for over 50 years. Throughout the solar system, seemingly innocent asteroidal mining operations had actually been covering the construction of massive energy projection platforms. All defense grid commanders, this is Winters, she broadcast through the quantum entanglement network. Initiate Helios Protocol. Authorization Delta 70. Across the solar system, hidden installations hummed to life. The asteroid belt began to glow with activation energy as thousands of platforms revealed their true nature. Each asteroid-based weapon platform could generate enough energy to rival a small star, all of it precisely controlled and directed. The Calarian fleet launched their attack with characteristic precision. Thousands of ships emerged from hyperspace simultaneously, their weapons charged, expecting to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. Instead, they found themselves surrounded. The seemingly empty space around their exit points was filled with human vessels that had been waiting in quantum shift, invisible to conventional sensors. Every mining platform and debris field concealed weapon systems that had been tracking them since they began gathering their fleet. Grand Admiral Thexkar stood on his flagship's bridge, watching in horror as human ships seemed to materialize from nowhere, their advanced weapons already locked onto vital systems of his vessels. Impossible, he breathed. They knew exactly where we would emerge. They've been waiting for us. The human response was overwhelming but measured. Instead of destroying the Calarian ships, precision strikes disabled their weapons and propulsion systems. Quantum field generators isolated entire battle groups, cutting them off from both reinforcement and retreat. This is Commander Kira Winters of the Earth Defense Force. Her transmission reached every Calarian ship simultaneously. Your fleet is surrounded and at our mercy. We have no desire for wholesale slaughter. Stand down. In the Calarian flagship, Thexkar watched as sections of his fleet were systematically neutralized. Human ships moved with impossible precision, their tactics showing not just technological superiority but a deep understanding of Calarian military doctrine. Sir, his tactical officer reported, they're not just defeating us, they're dismantling our entire battle strategy. Every contingency plan, every fallback option, it's as if they knew our plans before we made them. The truth was devastating. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this battle, they had been gathering intelligence and analyzing Calarian military tactics for years. Every strategy the Empire might employ had been simulated countless times, counters developed and refined. As the battle continued, Earth unveiled more of its hidden capabilities. Quantum disruption fields seized control of Calarian ships' computer systems. Temporal distortion weapons froze entire squadrons in moments of stop time. Gravity manipulation technologies rendered the Empire's most powerful weapons useless. In the Mount Everest Command Center, Kira watched the battle unfold exactly as their simulations had predicted. Status of the civilian evacuation ships? All civilian vessels are being contained without casualties, Singh reported. Our selective field technology is allowing us to disable their military ships while ensuring the safety of support vessels and crew. Director Jackson stepped forward. Send the final warning. Kira nodded, opening a channel to Thexgar's flagship. Grand Admiral, look around you. Your fleet is defeated, but your people are unharmed. We could have destroyed every ship, but we chose not to. This is your last chance, stand down, or we will be forced to demonstrate our full military capabilities. In the silence that followed, the Calarian Empire faced its greatest choice. Their mighty fleet hung powerless in space, surrounded by technology they barely understood, at the mercy of a species they had gravely underestimated. Grand Admiral Thexgar, his pride warring with his duty to protect his people, made the hardest decision of his life. All Calarian vessels, he transmitted, stand down. Power down weapons and engines. As the Empire's fleet surrendered, humanity had achieved more than just a military victory. They had forced one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations to confront a new reality, one where they were no longer the undisputed masters of known space. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, the Great Hall of the Galactic Concordat gleamed under the light of 3 suns. On Neutral Station, a massive space habitat constructed specifically for interstellar diplomacy, representatives from Earth sat across from the Calarian delegation. The scene would have been unimaginable just a year ago, humans and Calarians meeting as equals. Commander Kira Winters, now Earth's chief diplomatic officer, studied the faces of the Calarian representatives. Their scales had regained their luster after the shame of defeat, and there was a new wisdom in their eyes. Beside her sat Director Jackson and Dr. Hassan, while across the table, former intelligence officer Naira had been promoted to lead diplomatic liaison, a recognition of her early warnings about underestimating humanity. The terms are fair, Naira stated, reviewing the proposed treaty. More than fair, considering the circumstances. The treaty represented a fundamental shift in galactic politics. Earth wasn't demanding reparations or territory. Instead, they were proposing something revolutionary, a genuine partnership between civilizations. Humanity has no interest in empire building, Kira explained, her voice carrying across the chamber. What we want is cooperation, exchange of knowledge, and mutual respect. The Calarian High Council members exchanged glances. Their society was still adapting to the shock of discovering they weren't the most advanced civilization in known space. The past year had seen massive reforms in their empire, as younger, more progressive leaders replaced those who had clung to outdated notions of superiority. There is much we could learn from each other, Naira acknowledged. Your technological innovations, combined with our centuries of experience in galactic administration. Exactly, Director Jackson interjected. Imagine what we could achieve together instead of wasting resources on conflict. The changes were already visible throughout Calarian space. Their scientists, freed from centuries of technological stagnation, were studying human innovations with newfound enthusiasm. The Empire's rigid hierarchy was giving way to more flexible, adaptive systems inspired by Earth's example. There is one question that still troubles many in the Empire, spoke High Counselor Zexra, who had survived the political upheaval due to her early support for peace. Why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue hiding your true capabilities? Dr. Hassan stepped forward, activating a holographic display showing astronomical data. Because there are greater challenges coming. Our long-range sensors have detected signs of other civilizations beyond known space, some potentially more advanced than either of us. Humanity believes that division makes us vulnerable. Unity and cooperation are our best defense against unknown threats. The revelation sent murmurs through the chamber. The Calarians had long believed they had mapped most of the significant civilizations in their sector of the galaxy. The idea that there might be more advanced species out there was both thrilling and concerning. Which is why, Kira continued, we're proposing the establishment of the Joint Scientific Initiative. A combination of human innovation and Calarian experience could push the boundaries of what's possible. The proposal included sharing certain technologies that humanity had kept hidden. Not everything. Earth would maintain some secrets as a precaution, but enough to demonstrate their commitment to genuine partnership. Our civilizations complement each other, Director Jackson explained. Humanity's rapid advancement and adaptability, combined with Calarian stability and experience, could create something greater than either of us could achieve alone. As if to demonstrate this potential, the station's central holographic system activated, displaying a joint human-Calarian project already in development. A new class of exploration vessel, combining Earth's quantum shift technology with Calarian mastery of sustainable long-term space habitation. The galaxy is larger and more complex than either of our civilizations imagined, Kira said, standing to address the entire chamber. The choice before us is simple: remain divided and vulnerable, or unite and face the unknown together. In the end, the treaty was signed not with grand ceremony, but with quiet determination. Both sides recognized that this was not just an end to conflict, but the beginning of something new. The changes rippled across known space. Other civilizations that had lived under Calarian dominion watched in amazement as the Empire transformed. Human diplomatic missions spread throughout the galaxy, sharing knowledge and building bridges between species that had long lived in isolation or fear. Back on Earth, in the Nautilus complex, Commander Winters stood before the same holographic display where she had once watched the Calarian fleet retreat. Now it showed a galaxy transforming, trade routes reopening, cultural exchanges flourishing, and joint scientific missions pushing into unexplored space. Was it worth it? Lieutenant Singh asked, standing beside her. Revealing our capabilities, changing the balance of power? Kira smiled, watching as another joint human-Calarian expedition departed for the Galactic core. Look at what we've achieved in just 1 year. Scientific advancement is accelerating. Species that never communicated are sharing ideas. We're stronger together than we ever were apart. The defeat of the Calarian Empire had indeed marked the end of an era, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of creating a new empire, humanity had helped forge something unprecedented, a genuine collaboration between civilizations. As the sun set on another day in the new galactic order, ships of both human and Calarian design patrolled the solar system together. In laboratories across Earth and the Empire, scientists of both species worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of knowledge. And in the vast darkness between the stars, joint exploration teams ventured into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The day the Empire had ignored Earth's warning had changed the galaxy forever. But instead of ending in destruction, it had led to transformation, proof that even the oldest of enemies could become the strongest of allies, when wisdom finally prevailed over pride.